Hari Om. Welcome you all to the next session in the Python programming course. We are currently discussing module 3, in which three major topics are covered: object oriented programming, arrays and data visualization. In our previous sessions we talked about object oriented programming approach, the different features we discussed, what do you mean by data abstraction we discussed. Then we also talked about how to define a class. All these things we discussed in our previous sessions. Object oriented programming, the goal of object oriented programming, what are the different features, then the different terminologies that are used in object oriented programming were also discussed. Then we talked about how to define a class in Python, the syntax of defining a class and the purpose of using double underscore, then how do we create an object, and some of the example programs we had seen, and the very important parameter called self parameter and how it is used as a reference to the current instance of the class. Then we had seen some of the programs after discussing the constructors in Python. How do we define a constructor and how it is used to initialize the variables. Then some of the very important built-in attribute methods we had seen, which are used for accessing attribute values, then which are used to check whether the attribute exists or not, and the attribute methods are used for modifying or deleting attribute value. These are some of the built-in attribute methods. Then we had seen a demo program also. Then we also talked about the built-in class attributes which are defined with double underscores and how it can be accessed. Again, a demo program also was discussed. Then we also talked about the destructors in Python. Now in this session we are going to talk about the pass statement, then what do you mean by data hiding, then very briefly we touch upon the inheritance also. Now whenever we are going to define a class in Python, we cannot leave it as an empty class. So what we do, we are going to use the pass statement to say that there is no definition or there is no statements to be defined in that particular class. But for some reason we have a class definition with no content. Please recollect the classes that we used for user defined exceptions. So in all those classes we had a statement called pass statement, in which we had no definitions inside that particular class. No data members, no method members were defined inside the class. In those cases I can use the pass statement. So what we are going to do, if you are going to simply give just the class name and the suppose say for example you want to define a class, let me go to Spider, then you can observe here, suppose you want to define a class like sample class, okay, and you don't want to have any data member or any method member for this particular class, right? So if this is the case in C or sorry, not in C, in C++, in Java we can simply have curly braces, this is enough. But whereas here curly braces are not there, only indentation is used for defining the data members and method members. So in this case you cannot have a class as an empty class. So what we are going to do, just to define it as an empty class, we are going to use the pass statement here. So after the indentation, just give pass so that the system will understand this class is defined with no data members and no method members. That is the purpose of pass statement, right? So just put in the pass statement to avoid getting error. Suppose if you have not put in this pass statement, obviously you will be getting an error. Suppose, say for example, you are going to define some main program here, and then some classes, sample class you are going to define, like S1 is equal to sample class. So like this, if you are going to define, it is going to give you an error. Okay, you can observe here expected and intended block. Why? Because there is no data member or method member defined, but I am declaring simply a main program. So by the time it says, it expects an intended block. You can see here. So to avoid this kind of errors, what we are going to do, we can simply include a pass statement so that this error will not be there. I am going to give it a sample class. So you can observe here the error disappeared. So this is the purpose of having the pass statement, right? So the class definitions cannot be empty, but for some reason we have a class definition with no content. In those cases, just put in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. So this is how you are going to use. Always this is the docstring. Recollect these points. Just have the class definition, class name, then the docstring, then you can just give the pass statement. So what happens now? For this class, there is no data member, there is no method member. That is the purpose of the pass statement. Next, if you want to delete some properties of the object, or if you want to delete the object itself, then we can use the del keyword. So you can delete properties on the objects or the object itself by using the del keyword, or you can also use del attribute, right? So we had already seen what is this del attribute method, which can be used for deleting the attributes or the properties. So age is one of the attribute of this student class, right? The student 1 is an object of student class in which I have age as one of the attributes. And if you want to delete this attribute, you can either use delete attribute method, which is a built-in attribute method, or you can use the del keyword. So you just say del and the property. So obviously this property, age property of this object will be deleted. Or if you want to delete the object itself, right? If you want to delete the object itself, you can use it this way. Just give the del keyword and the object name so that it will be deleting the object completely. Okay, so these are the two statements you have to remember. One is the pass statement, where if you want to have an empty content for a class definition, you can use the pass statement. The second one is deleting. So if you want to delete an attribute, or if you want to delete an object completely, then you can make use of the del keyword. Now, so far in our discussion, you may be like getting confused, like why we are not talking about the private member, public member, or the protected member, etc. Because in C++ and Java, you might have already come across like how you are defining some members as private, how you are defining some members as public. Whereas here we are not talking about any private member. Whatever members you have defined so far, all those members can be accessed outside the class also. So how we can have a private member in Python? So that is what we are going to talk in data hiding. So we can also hide data in Python. For this, what we are going to do, we need to prefix double underscore for an attribute. So how we are going to achieve data hiding? Data hiding can be defined as the mechanism of hiding the data of a class from the outside world, or to be more precise, from other classes. Why we are doing it? This is done to protect the data from any accidental or intentional access. I hope you understand this. Let me repeat. Data hiding can be defined as the mechanism of hiding the data of a class. From where you are going to hide the data? From the outside world or from other classes of the application. Now, how do you do this? It is done to protect the data from, why we are doing it? It is done to protect the data from any accidental or intentional access. So, in most of the object-oriented programming languages, encapsulation is implemented through classes, right? So, in a class, data may be made private or public. Private data or function of a class will not be accessed from outside the class, while public data or functions can be accessed from anywhere. So, data hiding is achieved by making the members of a class private. So, if the members of a class are private members, then obviously we are achieving the data hiding. Just make a note of it. Data hiding can be achieved by making the members of a class as a private member. So, what happens if you are going to make it private? Access to the private members will be restricted, and it is only available to the member functions of the same class. So, all the private members can be accessed only by the method members of that particular class. Whereas all the public part of the object is accessible outside the class. So, if you define any data member or a method member as a public one, it can be accessed outside the class also. Now, how we are going to make a member, a data member especially, as a private member? Now, if the attributes are prefixed with double underscore, then it becomes a private attribute. This is the point to be noted. So, this is how we are going to achieve data hiding in Python. And I hope you know what is a private member, what is a public member. So, if you have any private member defined in a class, there we can achieve data hiding. So, let us see an example program, very simple example program. I will go to Python. So, let us delete this. Okay. So, this is a very simple Python program that shows how we can have a private member. Okay. As told, if you want to have a private member, you have to prefix it with double underscore. So, if you prefix it with double underscore, then this becomes a private member. Suppose if you are going to have count equal to 0, then this becomes a public member. This is a public member, whereas this is a private member. So, this member can be accessed only inside the method. So, you can see here I have a constructor where I am initializing with 10, and of course, this initialization can also be done this way. I am just having the constructor here just to show that the constructor should be always a part of your class definition, right? So, here I have already initialized it with 10, but even then I am initializing it again here, because it is a good practice to have a constructor for all the class definitions. Okay. Then I am having a method called increment method, where I am going to simply increment it. Okay. Now, in the main program, I am going to create the object. I create an object called num1, and I am going to increment the value of num1. So, what happens? Whenever I invoke increment, it will be keep on incrementing the value. So, initially it is 10, and when I call it once, it will be incrementing it to 11, then it will be incrementing it to 12, and so on. And suppose, say for example, you want to have double increment. So, what you can do, I can just copy this and let me paste it and let me call it as double increment, and here I am going to increment it, sorry, not double increment, let me say 2 times. I am going to make it 2 times. Okay, then number doubled. Okay, then it will be displaying it. Okay, so you can invoke increment, and then suppose you want to have double increment, then you can simply call the double increment also. Let us just try executing this program, you can understand it better. Okay, I am going to run the program. You can see when I invoke increment method, it says number incremented, so 10 was incremented to 11. Then I invoke the double increment, there it gets doubled, so 11 into 22, which becomes 22. Again, suppose say again you are going to invoke the methods this way. I am incrementing it again, and then I am double incrementing. So in that case, if I run the program again, you can see for this increment invoking, it has incremented 10 to 11. Then it was double incremented, so 11 into 2, 22. Then number was again incremented, right? So I invoked the increment method, so 22 is incremented to 23, and then again I double incremented, so 23 into 2, it becomes 46. So this is how the private members can be declared and accessed inside the method. And the interesting part is when you try to increment it here, when you try to, outside the class, right? I am trying to invoke double underscore double underscore equal to 100. When I try this, let us see what happens. Console, when I try, it is not accessing or assigning the value to the number variable, because you cannot assign or access this value outside the class. But at the same time, if I am going to assign 200, and let me say I have a method def display self parameter, and I am going to have a print statement that prints the number and count. Okay, simply I am just giving double underscore num comma count. Okay, so let us invoke num1 dot display. Let us see what happens. Num is not defined because I cannot, I have to give self here. Okay, let me clear the console. So you need to give self dot, and you have to give self dot, fine. So let me run it again. Now it shows the number is 10 and 200. Even though you have assigned the value here, even though you have assigned 100 to this particular variable, it is not assigning 100 because this number, this variable cannot be accessed outside the class. it can be accessed only inside the class. So you cannot assign a new value to this. Whatever you have assigned earlier, that value is taken here for displaying. And but count is a public member, because I did not use double underscore. So what happens, count is a public member, so I can outside the class also I can assign a value to this particular variable, thereby it gives you 200. And suppose if you want to increment that count, okay, that is also possible. I can say count equal to, let me say plus equal to 25. I am incrementing it with 25. But if you try to increment underscore underscore num plus equal to with 20, you cannot do that. And let me invoke display now. Sorry, I run the program and you can observe it is not giving you any error, but the thing is you are not able to access the private member. Here I have assigned 100, but I am not getting 100 in the display method. I get only 10. Whatever you have done inside the class, only this value will appear for num, because it is a private member. Whereas for count, it is a public member. So instead of having value 0, it is taking it as 200 itself, even though you assign value in the main program. So that is getting printed here in this print statement. Okay. And here what I did, I am incrementing count with 25 and I am incrementing num with 20. Okay. And I invoke the display method here. I invoke the display method. Observe it. I am invoking the display method. So when I invoke the display method, the count value from 200 it goes to 225, because I am incrementing it with 25, so it goes to 225. Whereas the num value has been 46 and I am trying to increment it with 20, but it is not getting updated, right? So you can understand here, if you have a private member, it cannot be assigned with a new value or it cannot be manipulated outside the class. But if you have a public member, it can be assigned with a new value and it can also be manipulated outside the class as well as inside the class. Here also you can do the updation, right? So if you want to manipulate on the count, that can be done inside the class also, and it can also be done like you can assign new values or you can manipulate on that particular variable. All these things can be done inside the class as well as outside the class, right? So that is the point to be noted here. So whenever we have data hiding, and if you want to have private member, you need to simply add or prefix double underscore, then the data member or the method member becomes the private attribute of that particular class, which is used for achieving data hiding in Python. And the next very important object oriented feature is the inheritance, which is nothing but it allows to define a class that inherits all the methods and properties of another class. So parent class is the class being inherited from, which is also known as the base class, and the child class is the class which inherits another class, which is also known as the derived class. Okay, and this inheritance allows subclasses to inherit, and remember, this base class can also be called as a superclass, and the derived class is also known as subclass, right? So in inheritance you will have a parent and you will have a child, So the parent class is also known as base class and superclass. Make a note of it. And the child class is also known as a derived class as well as the subclass. Now, what is the advantage of having this inheritance? Obviously, it is the reusability of the code. Please make a note of it. It is the reusability. So, the keywords that you have to remember here: inheritance, then deriving the qualities of one class to another, that is what you call as inheritance. And here you will have a parent class, then you will have a child class, what are the other names for parent class? You can call it as base class or you can call it as super class. The same way for the child class, you can call it as derived class or you can call it as subclass, right? What is the main advantage of having the inheritance? Very important, reusability of code. So whatever you have already defined, those properties you can directly inherit. So that is the very important advantage of having the inheritance. I am going to comment it. Okay, right. So these are some of the terms that you have to remember. So how do you achieve inheritance? You can create a parent class, then you can create a child class and add the init function, which is nothing but the constructor, and use super, right? So whenever you want to invoke the base class constructor or the parent class constructor in the child class, then you are going to use the super function, and then you can go for adding the properties and methods. Okay. So this is how we are going to derive a child class. We will be discussing the inheritance in detail. I am just touching upon what is inheritance. How do you derive a class? You can create a parent class. So any class can be a parent class. So the syntax is same as creating any other class. Right? So how do you create another class? In the same way you can create a parent class also. And to create a class that inherits the functionality from another class, use the parent class as a parameter. This is the point to be noted. How do you inherit or how do you derive a child class? You have to use the parent class as a parameter while creating the child class. Now you create a class named student, which will inherit the properties and methods from the person class. In that case, what do? You declare class student and pass the parent class name as the parameter while defining the class itself. That is the point to be noted here. So when you define a child class, by the time the parent class must be passed as a parameter. Here person is the parent class, student is the child class. So what do? You pass this class name as the parameter. So what happens? Whatever attributes or the properties of person class available, all those properties will be inherited in the student class also. So you have different types of inheritance: single, multi-level, multiple inheritance, and how do you invoke the base class constructor, and what do you mean by polymorphism, what do you mean by overriding, what do you mean by operator overloading. So all these things we will be discussing in the upcoming session. Okay. So here we just talked about what is a pass statement, what is the del keyword used for, and what do you mean by data hiding. And we had seen some of the examples of data hiding also, where you can achieve having private members in your class. Then we had very briefly touched upon what is inheritance and very simple way of defining a child class. Then the different types of inheritance, right? So inheritance, operator overloading, overriding will be discussed in the upcoming sessions in detail. Thank you.